Close your eyes and travel back to the year 1666. You are standing in the heart of London, but this is not the grand city of stone and glass we know today. This is a medieval labyrinth, a city of wood, straw, and pitch. Look closely at the houses. They are timber-framed, built so close together that the upper floors, the jetties, almost touch across the narrow streets. You could reach out your window and shake hands with your neighbor across the alley. Down below, the streets are dark tunnels, permanently shadowed, smelling of sewage and animal dung. The summer of 1666 has been brutally hot for 10 long months. A drought has gripped the city. There has been almost no rain. The wooden beams of the houses are bone dry. The thatched roofs are like kindling, waiting for a spark. The city is a tinderbox, waiting to explode. And the spark is coming. Not from a foreign army, not from a lightning strike, but from a simple bakery on a small, insignificant street with a name that history will never forget. Part 2. It is Sunday morning, September 2nd. The clock strikes 1 in the morning. The city is asleep. In a bakery on Pudding Lane, Thomas Farriner, the King's baker, Thomas Farriner, has gone to bed, but he has made a fatal mistake. Downstairs, in the oven used to bake ship's biscuits for the Royal Navy, the fire has not been fully extinguished. A stray ember pops out. It lands on a pile of dry brushwood lying near the oven door. Slowly, silently, the wood catches fire. The flames lick up the walls. They consume the curtains. Then, the ceiling. Within minutes, the Farriner family wakes up to the smell of smoke. They are trapped. In panic, they climb out of an upstairs window, crawling along the gutter to their neighbor's house. But their maid, terrified of the height, refuses to jump. She stays behind, and she becomes the first victim of a tragedy that will consume an entire civilization. The fire spills out of the bakery. It hits the street, and there, it finds fuel. Warehouses filled with oil, tallow, spirits, and coal. The fire begins to roar. Bartois, the local constables arrive. They see the danger immediately. They know the only way to stop a fire in a wooden city is to create a fire break to pull down the surrounding houses. So the flames have nothing to eat, but they need permission. They summon the Lord Mayor of London, Thomas Bloodworth. Bloodworth arrives. He looks at the burning bakery. He looks at the sleepy city, and he makes a judgment call that will go down in history as one of the worst decisions ever made. He waves his hand dismissively and says the infamous words, "Pish, a woman might piss it out." He refuses to order the demolition. He goes back to bed. He was wrong, dead wrong. A strong gale, a fierce wind blowing from the east suddenly picks up. It grabs the sparks and flings them hundreds of yards away. The fire is no longer spreading. It is jumping. By Sunday morning, the fire has transformed. It is no longer a structure fire. It is a firestorm. The heat is so intense, reaching over 1,000 degrees Celsius, that it creates its own weather system. The vacuum of oxygen sucks the wind in, feeding the beast. Part cat. Imagine the scene on the streets. There are no fire engines, no hoses, just leather buckets passed from hand to hand. In a hopeless chain, panic sets in. The citizens of London realize the city is lost. The Great Escape begins. The streets are clogged with carts, horses, and screaming people carrying their most precious possessions. The rich hire boats on the River Thames to float their gold and furniture to safety. The river is so crowded with boats, it looks like you could walk across it. The poor carry their children on their backs, fleeing towards the open fields in the north. The famous diarist Samuel Pepys watches from a safe distance. He writes a chilling description. The fire appeared as an entire arch of fire, a bow of flame over a mile long. The noise was terrifying. The cracking of houses, the rattling of chains, the screaming of people. Pigeons hover over their burning nests until their wings scorch and they drop dead into the flames. The very air is burning. And part sink, Tuesday, September 4th. The fire reaches the spiritual heart of the city, Old St. Paul's Cathedral. This was a massive medieval Gothic structure, towering over London. The citizens believed God's house was invincible. Its thick stone walls would surely stop the fire. Merchants and booksellers rushed their goods inside the cathedral crypt for safety. They filled the church with books, cloth. Tragically, they had just built a massive bonfire inside the church. The fire surrounds the cathedral. The scaffolding outside catches fire. The heat becomes unbearable. The stones begin to explode like grenades. But the true horror comes from the roof. The roof of St. Paul's was covered in acres of lead sheeting. As the temperature rises, the lead melts. Eyewitnesses describe a nightmare scene. A shimmering rumen. A rumen lead, silver river of molten lead, pours down from the roof. It flows down the streets like lava, glowing red and orange, blocking escape routes. The pavement glows with heat, with a deafening roar.
Look out, it's spreading!
The great tower
Run,
collapses.
quickly!
The books in the crypt ignite. St. Paul's is gone. Part 6. The mayor had failed. Now, the king must lead. King Charles II, often called the Merry Monarch, shows a different side. He rides into the city on his horse, alongside his brother, James, the Duke of York. They are covered in soot and ash. The king himself is seen passing buckets of water, tossing coins to the firefighters, commanding the men. They realized water was useless. They needed gunpowder. The king orders the navy to blow up entire streets of houses before the fire can reach them. Boom.
We must stop the
Explosions
fire now.
ring out across
Use the
London.
powder.
They
Concentrate all
ruthlessly
fire
destroy
on the northern
homes
defences
to starve
immediately.
the fire. Finally, on Wednesday night, the wind from the east dies down. The fire breaks hold. The monster begins to starve. In part sept, when the sun rose on Thursday, the silence returned. But it was the silence of a graveyard. 80% of London was destroyed. 13,000 houses, 87 churches, the Royal Exchange, the Guildhall, all turned to ash. The detective, 100,000 people were homeless, camping in the fields, facing a harsh winter. But miraculously, out of the ashes, the phoenix rose. The great architect Sir Christopher Wren was given the task of rebuilding. He looked at the ruins and saw opportunity. He decreed, no more wooden houses. The new London would be built of brick and stone. The streets would be wider, and atop the highest hill, he built the new St. Paul's Cathedral, with its magnificent white dome that still watches over the city today. There is a strange irony to this tragedy. Just 1 year before, in 1665, the Great Plague had killed thousands in these very streets. The fire, in its cruelty, sterilized the city. It burned down the filthy slums. It killed the rats and the fleas. The Great Fire ended the Great Plague. London was purified by flame. History teaches us that destruction is often the precursor to creation. London did not die in 1666. It was reborn. Thank you for watching. If this story ignited your imagination, please like and subscribe to Reborn History. Goodbye.